How you doing?
I'm all right.
Thank you for coming out to Acting Up Beyond the Stage. So we were talking a little bit about your recent audition and some other things, but you've attended Acting Up Beyond the Stage before.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that help? What did you think about the class?
I thought it was really good. I definitely took what you had told me, the little that you did tell me, because we spent just a couple minutes together. And I brought that with me to my audition. When you talked about how comfortable I was with the script that you gave me versus something brand new, fresh out the box. And how I guess that's one of my weaknesses that I need to work on.
Dry reads.
Dry reads, yeah.
So the first one that I gave you was what, Daddy Pope
Right.
from Scandal.
I love the fact that you gave that to me too. I saw that first word, I was like, yes.
But the crazy thing about this is you actually already knew it. So when we were sitting there, and it was myself and a parent that actually has a child that attends my youth class. And so we're watching you and we're like, he doing a little too good. So dry reads are, you know, you kind of expect a little choppy air, a little bit of the choppiness, but for the most part, you ran through that thing like you knew it.
Right.
So then the dynamic of, or your comfort zone is switched. So you got another read and it was something that you did not know.
Right.
Which was still good, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
But you could tell that you weren't familiar. So how do we adjust from something that we know to something that's unfamiliar with a dry read?
I think just practice getting different types of scripts and different, clips from plays or whatnot, and just practicing reading something that you're not familiar with. I know for me personally, I just have to have repetition. So, it just comes from that mind switch, just reading a few words and going, okay, this is how I need to be, this is how I need to think.
Right.
And not having that familiarity is like, jumping in the pool, you don't know how deep it is.
Right.
So I think it just comes from practicing being comfortable with the uncomfortable.
So we left off from there, and we talked about character development, because that was a big part of it, just like making sure that you understand what that particular read calls for.
Right.
So we could identify with Daddy Pope, but the other one was more of I forget, what was it? Was it youth?
I feel like it was like a youth, almost an uncertain character.
Yeah.
A little bit weaker.
Yeah, that is right. Okay. So it's been some time. It's been a couple weeks since we've seen each other, maybe a month, maybe. So you came out. You went to an audition, and what did you experience in your audition?
The same feeling of unfamiliarity, pretty much.
Okay.
Because I had two plays to read from. One was a comedy and one was a drama. And coincidentally, with the drama, I also had to read for one of the weaker, milder characters. And the director, she wanted me to play it be more frightened or be more, spastic with your fear. And I was just, in my mind, I was like, I know I got to get this because somebody might ask me to do that one day. But at the back of my mind, I was like, that's just the polar opposite of who I am. But I'm going to try to dig it up. And I did try to. As soon as she said that, you came to mind. Because of that, that part I had to read.
So when we get reads, or when we have to play characters that are, it's so not us. It's so not us. You kind of like clam up, and it's like, okay, I got to step outside of me. And so at that point, were you able to?
I did my very best. Okay. That's all I can say. I did my very best. I don't think I nailed it like I needed to nail it. And I remember you asked me earlier about what's one thing that threw me for a loop. And that was it. And I came to the conclusion when I got to my car, everything was ended. I really was like, this, like acting, is like a rubber band. It's like the more you practice, the more you perfect your craft, that rubber band stretches and stretches and stretches, and you get, all this new, pressure put on the rubber band. But when you don't do it for a while, that rubber band shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. So it's like you go back into acting, and sure, the rubber band is stretchier than it was in the beginning, but it's not quite at that point that it was when you were at your very peak. And I wasn't at that peak that I needed to be at. And that's that's when I realized I need more training. I need to be stretched more.
Boy, you better. Boy, that was good. That the way that you put that, because I think a lot of times, even myself, and I've been acting for a long time, and even as a coach, I had the opportunity to go to Atlanta and be around filmmakers, and I have not tapped into the film industry as of yet. However, the networking and watching other people and looking at it from an actor's side, a director's side, and really getting an understanding as to, putting short films together. Before the Oscars and before, the Emmys and all that other stuff, like really looking at how people develop themselves as artists before the big screen.
Right.
And understanding that we make levels of success. We've said, okay, the Oscars, that's a level of success. That little audition to be an extra. Oh, you were just an extra. So if I watch it, how many speaking roles do you have?
Right.
And getting people to understand that a supporting role is just as important as the lead role. So what you are saying is dynamic. And that's a beautiful thing, and being willing to continue to develop your skills. So what would you say to someone who feels as though they've arrived in their craft and that they don't need any more direction or guidance?
I would say that the day that you feel like you arrived is the day that you become your own worst enemy. Because somebody who feels like they've arrived and they can't learn something from somewhere else, they're stuck. They're stuck at where they're at. They might read for a role that needs for them to be at this level right here, but they're at this level. They were here. They got here, thought they were all that, but they need to be here. And somebody who can't learn from any and every source they can is someone who stunts themselves. I would tell them to be more open-minded. Even if they're used to going out to auditions, they've been to Chicago, they've been to New York, they've been to LA, they've been to Atlanta, and this and that and the other. It's still so much to learn.
Right.
You are never at 100%. I'm sure even, Denzel Washington still takes notes himself. I would like to think so. Somebody as good as he is. So you're never done learning.
What would you like to gain from acting up beyond the stage?
I would like to stretch my rubber band. I want to get every single weakness in me and make it a strength. I want to be good at dry reading. I want to be good at theater, film, voice acting, radio, wherever it leads me to. I want to be comfortable with where I'm at. And one thing I like saying is that a person who's afraid or a person who's nervous simply hasn't trained enough. I want to get to the point where I'm not nervous about my own skill set, insecure about my own skill set. Because insecure is not who I am as a person, but I felt a slight bit of hesitance when I went in that audition because I knew for a fact that my training wasn't up to where it needed to be at. I want to get to the point where that's eliminated. So
what I say to fear, I look at fear and nervousness different.
Okay.
I think nervousness is a necessary thing in the arts because it's a respect to whoever the writer and director is, to your audience, to the provider of the gift, to God that is giving you the gift. It's like, you know what, I don't want to fall short, and I can do it, and I have it in me to do it, and I want to do it well, right?
Right.
Okay. So that nervousness is fine, but the fear of trusting yourself to be able to do it, that's a problem.
Okay.
So you want to be able to trust that you can do it.
Right. I guess it's more nervousness than fear.
Okay.
I guess that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I knew my rubber band wasn't at that peak. And so, I know that you've done a whole lot of different things here in Atlanta, and I'm sure a whole bunch of other different places you haven't even told me about yet. And I'm just I'm psyched to learn what you have to teach.
Now, what would you say to someone that is looking for some guidance and some direction in the acting world? What would you suggest to them?
Get into everything you can, whether it's theater that you're not going to get paid for, a student film at your local college, even if it's like an internet web series that only a couple people are going to see, just get into any and everything, because A, you can put that on your resume, which always looks good, and B, you have another piece of experience under under your belt. Even if it was bad, you get to learn from whatever it is that made it bad, and you can flip that around and turn it into a lesson.
That's awesome. I thank you for your support. I thank you for coming out and being hungry, and for the arts, for acting and wanting to develop your skill further. That's a beautiful thing, and it's a humbleness. And so I'm excited to continue to work with you and help you develop and get you on the track to where you want to go, because it is work. It is work, and it is an investment. It is dedication. So if acting up beyond the stage can do that, that's what we do. So I'm looking forward to watching you grow and develop as an actor.
Sounds good.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it.